Going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber as always, guys. Welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, we got us a cold snap or whatever it is, a cold front or whatever, some inclement weather going across the nation. I'm out here in Houston. We know different. It's in the high 20s. Low 30s, brutally cold. Now I'm from Jersey. I've seen worse than this, so I don't want y'all in the comment section like, Steve, shut up. It's negative 20 where I'm at. We all are suffering right now, and my heart does go out with you guys. But a lot of people are snowed in. I wish you guys the best. It will get better. And speaking of getting better, man, I've been doing, ever since it happened, the situation out here in New Orleans, well, out there in New Orleans, where a lot of people lost their lives. A lot of people were hurt during a terrorist attack by, Shamsud-Din, Jabbar. I can never say this guy's name right. Was currently living in Houston from Beaumont, Texas. Went down there in his car, in a rented truck, ran some people over. Heinous crime. And, it caused a lot of controversy. It's still in the headlines now because, basically it's just an attack of terror on American people by an American. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Situation with that, as well as another incident on January 1st we had reported about, where this guy, Matthew Livelsberger of Colorado Springs, Colorado, Green Beret on leave from across seas, came back, and all of a sudden he snaps, drives a rented cyber truck to Trump Tower Casino out there in Vegas, drove 800 miles, 12-hour trek, where he could have turned back at any time. He goes out there and blows himself up in front of the Trump Tower, injuring 7 people. Now, they haven't really said a lot about 7 people that was hurt, but they still count as, people that was casually injured by people that have war within themselves. And that's what I want to talk about today with you guys. Both of these individuals, the lives that they destroyed, whether, directly or indirectly, as far as the family of the surviving family, and a lot of these people that lost their lives, or the ones that are injured in the hospital still making a recovery. If you look at this whole thing, because like when I do my videos, I don't just report on the news. I try to give you my opinion as best I can and try to make sense of things that are senseless. Let's look at both of these guys real quick, because I'm going to show you a series of videos, and we're going to talk behind each one of them, and I'm going to show you something. I was watching, I think it was House of Dragon. Like, I'm a big fantasy person. Like, I watch a lot of the war, King Arthur, that type of stuff. I'm into that. And one of the characters in the thing had said, one time they asked him something, and he said, history remembers names, it don't remember faces. And that's true. It is. If you look at both of these people with the stunts that they pulled, both of them were to send a message. In the situation of Shamsud-Din Jabbar, he wanted to send a message to non-believers in Islam and people that are not living their life according to how he feels it should be lived in the Quran. Muslim community have come out and condemned that. You go to this guy, Matthew Livelsberger, a active duty Green Beret stationed in Germany, I think they said he was. This guy had an issue where he wanted to do something where he wanted to show a wake-up call for America by shooting off fireworks and blowing a car up with him inside. These people, both of their names will always be remembered, and there'll be a face with it because we got social media now where you can look people up. A lot of times these people that do stuff like this, whether it's misinformation or whatever drive for them to be recognized, a lot of times it's a backstory in that. And I see a correlation between both of these people. And I'm going to say this real quick because a lot of y'all ain't going to watch the whole video, but I'm going to show y'all some things to try to prove what I'm saying. Let's look at both of these cases as men, not as what they did, just as of men. And this is one thing I talk about, you know, with on my channel about it's a big difference between how men and women think, and when you try to confuse both of them, or society tries to combine the feminine and masculine energy and try to integrate it with both and back and forth with the issues, it's a problem. It is. Men deal with logic, what we could see, what we can decipher, and what can be told to us where we can see it, keyword see, either in our mind or understand things that we had questions about. Feminine aspect of things goes by feeling. They might make a decision depending on how they feel. When you speak to a woman as a man, and we go back and forth sometimes when we have disagreements, what do women say? I feel this, or I feel like this. You understand what I'm saying? It's a difference, but both are needed for the balance of coexistence in society and in relationships. Now watch this. Matthew Livelsberger, let's go with him, right? We'll go with him first. The Green Beret. Took leave to come home. Be with his wife, just had a baby in September. She found out he was cheating and messing around. Boom, that's the first thing. Cause of confusement. Throw him out the house. The man, throw the man out the house. Now, that's a problem because this guy's world is crashing down.
Major developments in the investigation into the man behind the Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas. Late today, police saying the driver left behind notes on his phone, detailing his actions and clues to a possible motive. Newly released surveillance video shows Army Green Beret Matthew Livelsberger at a Tesla charging station during his trip to Las Vegas. That chilling video of his final destination, the Trump Hotel. Authorities say Livelsberger died by suicide just before that blast. And they say in the notes he left behind, he railed against the United States, but he held no animosity toward the president-elect. And he wrote, quote, "This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call." ABC's Mola Lenghi leads us off in Las Vegas again tonight.
Tonight, authorities saying the highly decorated Green Beret suspected of using explosives to blow up that Cybertruck outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas left behind notes found on his cell phone, providing clues to a possible motive.
And in there, you can read a couple of the excerpts. We are the United States of America, the best country, people to ever exist. But right now, we are terminally ill and headed towards collapse. This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. What better way to get my point across than a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it now? I need to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took.
Officials confirming that 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger died by suicide just before the explosion. Master Sergeant Livelsberger was on approved leave from his base in Germany. A senior U.S. official telling ABC News there had been no red flags. Authorities releasing these new surveillance images showing him at a Tesla charging station as he made his way from Colorado to New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. That Cybertruck rented via the app Turo. Livelsberger pulling into the hotel valet at 7:35 a.m. Wednesday before pulling out, returning an hour later. And then, 17 seconds later, the explosion. 7 bystanders injured. Sources say Livelsberger was divorced and had recently remarried, his wife reportedly telling authorities he'd been out of the house in Colorado Springs since Christmas following a dispute over infidelity. And while investigators say they found those notes railing against the condition of the United States, they say the soldier held no animosity towards President-elect Trump.
We've found that the subject held no animosity towards the president-elect. The Army indicates that he likely suffered from PTSD, and we are also aware that there were potential other family issues or personal grievances in his own life that may have been contributing factors.
Investigators scouring the suspect's background. FBI and local police searching this townhome in Colorado Springs. Neighbors stunned.
He seemed normal. His wife is very nice. They just had a baby.
Well, Mary, late today, the sheriff here in Las Vegas saying they are aware of a podcast claiming to have a letter from Matthew Livelsberger mentioning recent drone sightings in the Northeast and claiming that he was being followed by federal investigators. Now, authorities say they're not 100% certain it came from him, but they do believe it did. Mary?
Mola Lenghi with the disturbing new details tonight. Mola, thank you.
Turn now to the investigation into the New Year's Day Cybertruck blast outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. This morning, we're hearing from the ex-girlfriend of the Green Beret identified as the driver. Mola Lenghi joins us with that story. Good morning, Mola.
Well, good morning, Rebecca. Yeah, as authorities investigate that Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas this morning, we're hearing from someone who was in contact with Matthew Livelsberger through his final days.
I failed him. We all failed him.
The ex-girlfriend of Matthew Livelsberger, the man who carried out the Las Vegas blast in front of the Trump Hotel, opening up about their final messages. Alicia Arrett hadn't heard from her ex-boyfriend, Livelsberger, a decorated U.S. Army Special Forces soldier, in over 2 years, when she says he started texting her on December 27th out of the blue, asking how she was.
He was just checking up on me.
What began as casual messages quickly became the last words she would ever exchange with him. The Master Sergeant served in the U.S. Army for almost 20 years. He was even featured on the History Channel series Ultimate Soldier Challenge in 2013.
We're going to go full out just like we've done the entire challenge.
In 2018, when Arrett and Livelsberger were dating, he started to open up about the struggles he was facing, at one point texting, "I have been spiraling down the last week or so. Sometimes I get so hopeless and depressed, by far the worst of my life."
He was really open about the trauma he faced and the teammates he lost.
On December 29th, Livelsberger sent pictures of the Cybertruck he rented.
He sent some front views and he shared he felt like he was Batman or Halo.
It wasn't until 2 days later, when the FBI contacted Arrett, that she found out what happened in Las Vegas.
They started to show me a video of him in the Cybertruck. My whole heart broke for him. That he was so broken that he got to that place.
Arrett is still struggling with why Livelsberger would take his own life.
He didn't say anything explicit that would have triggered it, I guess.
Well, his nearly 20 years of military service, Livelsberger saw multiple combat deployments. The FBI describing the incident in Las Vegas as a tragic case of suicide by a highly decorated service member struggling with PTSD and other issues, guys.
That is why you don't hear that much about this. I mean, you're still hearing about it. It's still in national headlines. But that right there tells you a lot. Now, they chalked it up as PTSD and the S word, I don't want you to do that crazy, by a service member, decorated service member. Anybody that deals with combat and in combat tours and stuff like that, there needs to be some type of debriefing method to them getting back into society. Military veterans have been talking about that for the longest time. A lot of homeless people you see outside, what do they have on their signs? Vietnam vet, or one of those last Great War veterans where they can't get themselves right. Now, I will say this. I think he always had these thoughts in his head because, as your, careers sometimes dwindle down. And my brother, who was over there in Iraq and fought extensively, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. He went through the same type of situation when he got back in society. And, I don't want to tell his business, but we had a situation where he tried to do something crazy at one time, feeling guilt for all of the stuff he's seen and had to experience while he was over there. This is something that needs to be tended to, but they don't want to talk about it because what? It costs funds, and it's something that needs to be addressed. Instead of an infomercial or something like that telling you, oh, you can go here and get help. And listen, some people are in dire straits. I also believe this. Let me say this. If the situation with his wife where he got thrown out the house and it seemed like his world was crumbling down, if that didn't happen, I don't think this would have happened. It's always a buildup. This is just my opinion. It's always a buildup. I don't know this man. Got a baby, about to lose his wife, don't know, have a lot of uncertainty, easily where he can get mad, put the blame game on somebody else, something. You understand what I'm saying? Put him in a position where he wants to do harm to others. Now they're talking about the situation with this guy, right? and they're saying, oh, well, you know, we found letters on them and stuff. That truck was burned up. Maybe they're telling the truth, maybe they're not. But one thing's for sure, the guy said, oh yeah, I use fireworks. Because everybody was scratching their head. This is a Green Beret. Now I'm gonna tell you something about the military and these specialized units in the military. These people go out in small groups and cause all kind of damage to achieve an objective to where if one of them men fall and they have a specialty, the other ones, and I want you to hear me, are capable of pulling the weight for this soldier that has been lost. That's why these people get hella respect, and they're the top of the top in the military when they have to do secret covert missions. And we were saying to ourselves, why would he use fireworks? Why would he use just gas? He didn't really make a bomb or anything like that, but it was just crazy. All of it was because he was upset. I'll show them. His life was crashing down. Personal grievances within self, going through their own individual issues. If you notice, when he went to the Trump thing, right? He zoomed in, cased it, came out, just like Mr. Jabbar did, right? Mr. Jabbar had the damn glasses on. Remember, we'll get to him in a second. But I want to take care of this Livelsberger guy first because he got the smallest story and did the least damage, but all of it was damaging, you know, just in America, period, where this, like he said, it's a wake-up call. It is. There's stories I haven't even covered yet. A guy was on his way to Virginia with guns. He got busted. Dude in New Orleans got bombs, ran in the store, told me he had a bomb on him. It's all of these crazy people that are coming out, and I think a lot of this is copycat shit from seeing on the news. And people want to make names for themselves because they feel as though they are nobodies. And they're upset with society a lot of times for situations that they individually put themselves in. Nobody cheated on that woman but Mr. Livelsberger. He got caught. Now, I'm not saying it's just that, but I think a lot of his ulterior views and stuff, because remember they said he had a traumatic brain injury he suffered overseas and didn't get help. See, it's always a cause to an effect, and other people get in trouble, like, you know, get hurt for it. This guy right here, as a veteran, it upsets me that this happened. I'm going to tell you something. This is one of the things. I don't understand mental illness and all this, and I don't claim to know everything. But I do know this. If I had a traumatic brain injury, I'm taking that very, very serious. And if my thinking starts getting outside of my normal wavelengths of what I usually do, I'm going to what? Seek help. I just had a baby. I got a wife. I got to protect them because I've seen what death, violence, and damage does in other countries trying to defend this one. You take care of those that you're trying to defend. You love somebody, you what? You protect them. Situation's crazy with this guy. It's a lot of other stuff with him, but I just wanted to bring out how both of them, whether they knew each other or not, they was both at the same base. All this other stuff is coming out. Right now, I'm just focusing on the mindset that got them where they are right now, pushing up daisies. Let's go back to this guy, Shamsud. Went down there, scouted it. Supposedly went down there, told people his lease was up out here in Houston at his trailer where I went over there and looked at it. And all of a sudden, yeah, I don't need to take my furniture and all this other stuff. They got him out there in videos walking around with coolers looking I don't even know the damn word. Looking crazy as hell, dropping these coolers off, supposedly with explosives in them. He was wearing those metal eyeglasses. You know what I'm saying? Riding around, casing where he gonna run his car like a bat out of hell and ride over a bunch of people. This is craziness. And it's a lot more. And when I say a lot more, it's a lot more out there that's in the grass that's high right now because the government refuses to cut it or take it serious to where they cut it low enough to take these snakes' heads off. I don't understand this. This is a national problem. It is. And it needs to be taken care of. We shouldn't have to wait for shit to happen and then say, oh, we're on it. listen, one of the things with doctors, a lot of people don't understand. They will treat a symptom. They will not take care of a cure. That's why a lot of people that are sick right now, it affects, when you go to the doctor, they say, hey, what's wrong with you? Oh, I got a cold, or oh, my head hurts, or oh, this. They'll write you a script for that. I think the government is doing the same damn thing with the way it's running this country right now. And I'm not anti-government, trust me, I'm not. But I think a lot of people are not paying attention to shit because it don't affect them where they're at. And it's crazy. It is, guys. Here's another thing. This guy right here, let's go back in his background. This guy supposedly got radicalized by teachings of Islam, which he put in his own head, or, you know, he got some bad teachings from somebody or whatever, to where he felt as though he had to be radical with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. I mean, all religions, you know, they're out here mainly for a basis of balance of oneself. Islam is about peace. That's why the Islamic community all over is saying, yo, we not down with what he did, because his warped sense of reality. What this guy did was bad, guys. And he's getting more publicity because 7 people got hurt as opposed to all these other people that got hurt. And each of these victims, mothers, brothers, sisters, grandkids, all of these people didn't know Mr. Jabbar. And they all have a story to tell before they met him and after. And I think a lot of times we as people are not really talking about the effects of something that happens outside of the original trauma to victims and then the surviving victim's family. You know what I'm saying? All of these people that died and all these people that are hurt and recovering in the hospital, and my heart goes out to everyone. I hope you do good. And I hope a lot of people that are, you know, make as full as a recovery as you can. But the thing is, all of this could have been avoided. Look at his case, Mr. Jabbar. Failed business stuff. Situations with family. And when I say family, you know, they didn't understand what he was doing. For some odd reason, now he got these divine teachings and it's making him want to kill his family, but it never occurred in his head, what the fuck am I doing? Didn't kill his family. He chose New Orleans because New Orleans is a party city. Shout out to the NO. And he knew on New Year's Eve it'd be party goers, and it went along with the narrative of the world's messed up because of music, libations, sickness, and temptation, and non-believers. So he targeted those people. That is sinful in itself. In itself. Failed business practices. Situations with his kids. Failed marriages, more than one. Never looked and self-reflected, maybe I'm the problem. You understand what I'm saying? Never did that. What did he do? Pushed himself deeper into his belief that he was right and the whole rest of the world was wrong. How many times we see school shootings when they say the kids was introverted? When you have a lot of time to yourself to think and all of that stuff, and you get your own ideas in your head and stuff, and all of a sudden, it's not you, it's everybody else. Boom, we starting to get stuff like this. Nobody's focuses on the mental aspects. That's a buildup that leads to this type of shit. And that's what needs tending to. We shouldn't wait for stuff to happen where multiple people get hurt and families get ruined and then say, oh, well, we stopped the threat. Now they're saying a lot of the bullets and stuff that was shot from police, they don't know who shot who and the people that were shot by gunfire.
Tonight about who might have been wounded by police gunfire during that terror attack on Bourbon Street.
Fox 8 chief investigative reporter Stephen Stock has more details about the shooter and the police response.
In the chaos and confusion on Bourbon Street early New Year's morning, split-second decisions by officers saved lives. But sources tell Fox 8 may have also injured innocent bystanders as well.
The responding officers not reacted quickly and with great effectiveness.
Greg Ferris has served in law enforcement and as a police firearms instructor in the Baton Rouge area for more than 4 decades. He points to national statistics showing that police officers in firefights like the one on Bourbon Street only hit their targets some 30% of the time.
I mean, if you look at national statistics of police gunfights, of shots fired versus hits, sometimes it's pretty discouraging.
A law enforcement source says suspect Shamsud-Din Jabbar tried to get out of the pickup truck that he had just crashed after driving at high speeds through crowds of people, wielding an AR-10 style rifle chambered with .308 slugs, heavy bullets normally used to hunt large game, bullets that can penetrate body armor. The source tells me Jabbar fired what appears to be several rounds before 3 different police officers opened fire, killing him. Sources tell me more than 30 rounds were fired in the exchange, and apparently some bystanders and even police officers may have been hit by gunfire aimed at Jabbar.
Are the rules different when there's a crowd?
The guy who drove the truck into the crowd and he jumped out and apparently fired at the officers, you know that is a threat. That is an immediate threat to yourself. It's an immediate threat to those around you in the crowd. And there certainly is a risk in taking a bad shot and hitting somebody that you don't want to hit, an innocent person. But the threat is there in front of you, and you have to react to that.
It's unfortunate, but those things are going to happen.
A former police officer himself, attorney Eric Hessler, represents the Police Association of New Orleans and some of the officers who were on the scene individually.
I wouldn't be surprised if these persons, including the officers, were struck by ricocheting bullets.
And you would say they were fully justified in their actions?
100%. In such a confined area, with these officers shooting as many rounds as they fired in close quarters, ricocheting is to be expected. Unaccounted round, as tragic as that may be, can be expected. And it's unfortunate, but those things are going to happen. They're going to happen, and all the training in the world is not going to be able to prevent a ricochet, I can tell you that.
Clearly, I think these guys are heroes. They ran towards the event.
Fox 8 legal analyst Joe Rispani has represented police officers in the past.
A lot of shots fired by police, unclear about how many were fired by the perpetrator. Those bullets go somewhere, and they're going to have to find out where they came from and where they went.
And tonight, the Orleans Parish Coroner, Dr. Dwight McKenna, confirms to Fox 8 that all of the innocent victims who died of trauma died consistently with being struck by that truck at high speed. The coroner also tells us that the suspect, Jabbar, died from 4 gunshot wounds to his torso. A 5th gunshot grazed him.
And we know had they not responded the way they did, as you reported yesterday,
that's right,
it would have been far worse, perhaps with bombs going off in our city.
He was attempting to get a remote device to explode 2 different bombs out in the Bourbon Street area and could have killed dozens, if not hundreds. So they acted very quickly and probably saved a lot of lives.
Let me stop talking and blabbering. I want to show you something. Take a look at this new information that came out. I'm going to show you 2 videos together. One is about the autopsy, about the New Orleans guy, Shamsud-Din. The FBI won't even let them release his body. Then another video I'm going to show you is the video about the shooting when they were shooting him up and other people shot. They don't know who shot who, and they trying to figure it out. But one thing's for sure, this guy got his gun out of Arlington. That's hitting the news now too. He brought his gun out of Arlington, Texas, and it was a legal purchase. Said it was an AR-style weapon that shot 308 rounds. Those are war rounds, sniper rifle rounds. A 308, if you ever hear a 308 round go off, it is loud, it's deafening. Those bullets tear through you like it's nothing, and he shot into the crowd with this. Listen. Take a look.
On all of the autopsies.
Police say Shamsud-Din
Jabbar opened fire after he mowed down pedestrians on Bourbon Street with a pickup truck.
The perpetrator was killed by gunfire from the police officers, 4 gunshot wounds to the torso and 1 grazing wound.
McKenna told me how the 14 deceased victims died.
All were killed by the car and had multiple blunt force injuries.
While all the autopsies are complete,
Has the suspect's body been released to his family?
No, we're not releasing that. The FBI does not want that body released.
Jeremy Sinsky, who was already wheelchair bound, is among the 3 dozen injured during the attack. He's in University Medical Center, New Orleans.
I didn't get shot. Like, I'm thinking the gunshots, I'm laying on the ground, I should be safe. And then my leg was messed up. I kept messing with my leg. I'm like trying to figure out what's wrong with my leg. And I saw this stuff around me, which was parts of my wheelchair.
His daughter told me he received a new wheelchair, which she posted on Facebook. The majority of the injured were taken to UMC, a level 1 trauma center.
We're seeing really a lot of orthopedic injuries, so long bone fractures, femur fractures, arm fractures. We're also seeing some blunt trauma to the chest, abdomen, and head, as well as a small number of gunshot wounds from the incident.
Dr. Jeffrey Elder is UMC's chief medical officer.
So I will tell you that when I walked in shortly after 4 a.m., it was actually just some organized chaos. I walked directly up to one of our senior residents. She had a list of patients. She knew how many we had at that time. She was going through it with me, and everybody had a job to do.
Now, despite the large number of seriously injured people who were brought here to UMC after the terrorist attack, Dr. Elder says they were able to care for them here at UMC without needing to call in outside help.
Staff. So we did bring in extra techs and nurses as well as a surgeon initially, but we were able to handle everything in-house.
I told you yesterday in the video I did, not enough attention is brought to the victims and the survivors of people that were lost in this thing. You know what I'm saying? Or people that were just going through it. And I want to show you a video about all of the survivors and the families speak about who they were, because these people matter. And, you know, a lot of times, like I said, we look at videos and we say, well, damn, that's messed up these people have. But it's usually a face, but it's not a background. This says a little bit about them. We got to give them shine, y'all. Check this out.
Heart breaks for everybody.
Their names and faces have been revealed, and now we're learning more about each precious life through their loved ones.
She was about to go to college, actually, in about 2 weeks.
18-year-old Nakira Dito was on her way to becoming a nurse. The Gulfport native was visiting Bourbon on New Year's Eve with her cousin and a friend.
Yeah, it really hurt me to see, like, one of my closest friends like that.
Hubert had a passion for baseball before he could even walk.
Brooke Gothrough described her baby brother Hubert as a young man with an infectious sense of humor.
He brightened up any room he walked into.
Along the way, we learned of Drew Dauphin, an Auburn University graduate. The 26-year-old worked at an auto plant in Alabama. Billy DeMaio's father described the 25-year-old as a good and humble kid who loved life.
Why innocent people, have to suffer, especially a guy like Kareem, was well liked.
Then there's Kareem Badawi. The 18-year-old was a freshman at the University of Alabama. The Baton Rouge native is described as a gentle, kind guy. Metairie mother Nicole Perez will be sorely missed by her mother.
My heart's broke.
She leaves behind a 4-year-old son. Elliot Wilkinson was identified Friday. His brother wrote on Facebook that the 40-year-old was loved and will be missed. And so will 43-year-old Brandon Taylor, who was born and raised in Marrero. Saturday, Jacqueline Kennedy honored her brother Terrence at a prayer service.
And I'm going to miss going to the grocery store with him. We go shopping. I'm going to miss everything about my brother. I love him so much.
On the same day, Matthew Tenedorio's body was escorted by the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office to his family in Slidell.
You hope you can hold on to them till they get old and you die and they live on, but that's not God's will sometimes.
And Martin Tiger Besh, a St. Thomas More football star, was kept on life support until his family arrived.
God kept his heartbeat beating for a reason. I believe it was
so that me and my family could tell them goodbye.
Reggie Hunter, a 37-year-old father of two from Baton Rouge, his cousin says the warehouse worker loved his family.
They're crying. They feel numb right now. They're hurting.
31-year-old Edward Pettifer was close to the royal family. He's the stepson of a woman who served as a nanny to Prince William and Prince Harry. Saturday, they issued a statement mourning his death. And Latasha Polk was the final victim to be identified by family. The 45-year-old mother was a nurse's assistant whose family is still in shock.
She leaving behind a son that truly loved her and going to miss her.
Like I said, may God rest the souls of these citizens we lost. And I wish all the survivors a speedy recovery. And I know that the people out there that have lost somebody in this tragic incident will have, bear scars that we'll never hear. And that's the thing that's crazy about this. Suffering, pain, despair, depression, mental issues, a lot of that stuff will be here long after we're gone. But these are problems that are out here. And a lot of the things I just named are universal. You know what else is universal? Love. And, it's a new year. And this is dropped on us hot and heavy from two people who felt as though they needed to make a statement in one way or another. And in all honesty, it didn't change anything. The only thing it changed was the lives of people that meant these people no harm. Mr. Livelsberger left a son and a wife. And then he left at a situation where, he was supposedly caught with infidelity and all of this other stuff. Your child was your legacy, and you left your child because you were dealing with situations. It could have been avoided. Sometimes you got to seek help. It don't make you weak. As a man, it just makes you a man. We all got tear ducts. All of us cry sometimes. Tears cleanse your soul. He had issues he was going through. So did this guy right here, Shamsud-Jabbar. And his situation is just unfathomable to me. I would never wage war on people that are not even in the same battlefield that's going on in my head, whether I'm having a moment or realization that it's issues going on in the world that I don't like. This is heartbreaking. All of this is. And it leaves everybody with, wondering why. Why did this happen? And it also leaves a certain amount of shame, whether a lot of people realize it or not, on family members and parents. Can you imagine how his family feel knowing that it was discovered that they were their intended target instead of the people in New Orleans, but he chose New Orleans because it was more bang for a buck and publicity in his situation of where he wanted to show and prove that he had an issue and he could take more people with him. Absolute insanity. You don't think the family members of these people that didn't even know that this type of stuff was going on with them, how they feel? Don't you really let that sink in? You could have the best kids and start to see a radical shift in their nature. And sometimes you might not see it because they keep this stuff hidden. And then a hell of a bomb is dropped. And you're left here as the face of somebody that's no longer here doing something asinine. And everybody looks at you as if you were a part of it and you weren't. It's a new year, man. We got to do better out here. Everybody's problems are their own, and it's up to you to seek help or take responsibility. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Peace to the fallen. And we got to learn from stuff like this, because there are a lot of other people out here like this that are in the same predicament. And we need to pay more attention to this and see if we can see obvious signs.